Welcome to the Break Multi-Cloud podcast, where we share scaling stories of F&B entrepreneurs. Today, I'm proud to have Mark from Lawang to share with me his story in scaling the brand. Mark, welcome to the show.
Hey, hi. Thanks for having me.
Mark, could you share a little bit more about your story on entrepreneurship as well as how did you start the Lawang brand?
I used to run a Wanton mee stall under the brand name Pontian Wanton Noodles. It was my friend's father's business, someone that I look up to as well. 3 stores away, there was this Claypot stall. Me and my ex-partner used to love the food there. After a while, we couldn't find the store anymore. Coincidentally, my chief cook, who's from a part of China, comes from the same village as her. So I told my staff, quickly go and find out where is she. I want to do some business with her. So that is where I contacted her. She shared with me whatever she knew how to cook, and until today, she's still with me.
That's super awesome. So, Lawang, you guys started as a hawker store first before you opened your Serangoon outlet and then the different outlets in the mall. So how did you guys actually scale in that journey?
Yeah, we didn't know how the business would turn out. We just said that, okay, I like this food. Let's find a coffee shop stall. And we took a stall in Yishun. Business was good, but the rent was high and we could not sell many things that the Zhu Cao stall was selling. So we had to scale up and find our own shop. That's where we sourced the Serangoon outlet, and it was a standalone shop where we could do many other products as well in one place.
So I was a big fan of the Serangoon shop because sometimes I go to Serangoon Stadium to run, and then me and my friends always be, hey, after we run, right, we want to eat Lawang. And always we go there, right, I eat all the calories that I burn because the food is so good. I remember it's always a long queue over there, and the food is very, very, I would say very value in terms of the quality of food, the quantity of the food, the taste and everything. Now I see most of the outlets are scaling in the malls and all, and that one is no more. So can you share a little bit of the story?
Been there for 11 years. Business is still good. In fact, it's at its peak. However, HDB will have to have its renewal clause for the change of use. So there were a lot of things that we had to stop for 2 weeks. We have to do major renovations. And me and my partner thought that it would not only cost a lot to make these changes, and that there are a lot of uncertainties if we were to sign a new 3-year lease. Right. And at the same time, next shopping mall is, I would say, the top 3 malls in Singapore. Yeah, it is. So if we were to sign a new lease, then we would not take next mall. We definitely wanted to put our focus into expanding into shopping malls. And at the same time, our brand was going into a direction that the Serangoon outlet could not keep up with in terms of branding, in terms of price, in terms of even the uniforms that we wanted to do. We have to be concerned about how hot it will be without aircon and stuff, because it was going to drag us down a little bit. So we thought, it's a very tough decision, but we have to close it, source for shopping mall units, and put our focus into hopefully getting next shopping mall.
Right. Yeah. I think that's a really good long-term planning, because you look at things that are a few steps ahead, right? Yeah. You wanted to expand more into the malls, and you wanted to invest in somewhere like Next, and that's why, thinking about the business strategy, it doesn't make sense for you to have Next and the Serangoon outlet, right?
And I can guarantee you the day that we closed it, right, was at its peak.
Wow.
Just nice, the coffee shop across us, right, was under renovation. So it was really a tough decision.
Right.
But we knew that we had to do it.
Right. Yeah. And currently, how many outlets are you operating?
Okay, we have 6 outlets under the brand of Claypot Delights, which is the one at Bugis, Singpost, and the Serangoon store. And there's one which we do on a higher scale, slightly higher scale. It's called Claypot Legacy, which is at One Holland Village. So total 7 now.
Right. 7 outlets, and looking to expand more every year, hopefully for 1 or 2.
I think Singapore, based on our brand, we can definitely do double.
Right.
We are not in the west, in the north, like Woodlands. I think we need to spread out a little, maybe do up to 12 or 15 in total. So we have definitely room to grow.
Right. So if you look at Lawang's business model, right, of course, Claypot is the very, very key product in your offering. What is Lawang about? How are you different from other F&B businesses? And whether is it your business model or is it the concept? How would you say what is that, differential thing about Lawang?
Initially, we were just going for good taste and the price. We wanted to position it in a way where the food is good, it's affordable, so that we bring families together. So that if the kids have some savings of their pocket money, this will be one of the places they can treat their mom for Mother's Day.
Especially for a younger, not very affluent yet, they just got their first job or still doing part-time, and then they think it
was a lot of family bringing families together. So for example, when we started QR code ordering, that we thought that would be a place where the kids can teach them, because they come together from the grandchildren up to the akong, right? Hey, scan this and then order from here. So that's where we create some family bonds as well.
Right.
But quite funny, there's this story about this guy from the Serangoon shop. So he called my phone. That time my phone was still for company use. And then he said, hey, do you see like a carton of cigarettes? Yeah, I left it behind. Anyway, I frequent your store since I was like a teenager, and I really love your food. And then I was trying to calculate, okay, if he smokes, he's about probably 18, 19 years
Right.
old. And that's where I realized that we have customers who have been eating with us since they are from a secondary school, and then they up to their smoking,
Right.
and probably up to when they are
Have kids
young,
and myself.
have kids.
Right.
So we cover quite a bit of this, and that's where I realized that when we implement certain dishes, certain new style of our marketing, I
Mala or
always,
stuff,
I always
must evolve.
consider what's our brand about. Really deep dive, understanding the brand is where I really grown to make my brand a bit better in certain ways,
Right.
as compared to others.
Right.
Where I really know who my customers are. My cook can like come and tell me, okay, let's try this dish for our LTOs.
LTOs means what?
Limited time
Okay.
offer for the next 3 months or so. But the moment she proposes this item, I would know, okay, it's not suitable. So I think from my perspective, I'm still very familiar with what the customers want. And my GM now, she has a very good
Sensing, yeah.
sensing
listening.
of this as well.
Right.
So this is whatever decision we make, whenever we release a product, be it $15, be it $18, how much to put in that Claypot, we will know very clearly what is the concept about.
So talk about scaling, right? Now 7, and every year hopefully open 2 more. There's going to be a question on capital, and then as entrepreneur, you have always been running many businesses. Whether is it Wanton Me or I heard you also did car,
Yeah.
everything, right?
Yeah.
So how do you think about this concept of capital? Did you get investors' money, and how do you scale the business to the next level?
The seed funding was very basic. Me and my partner, we would just decide when we had 2 shops, we wanted to buy a central kitchen. So it was quite a bold move, but a good decision now that we are able to use the kitchen. But when we proposed to everyone, like, hey, we want to raise money for Lawang, our 2 shops are doing well, how much we're earning, it's usually, for us, it's usually the warm markets that take faith and they know what we're about, and then they invest in us. So we have a plan. We'll tell them that based on this valuation, because we're doing the work, and then they get a certain share out of it as well. We will tell them that the money will be used to purchase the central kitchen, and the other bulk of it will be used to
Expand the
the outlets. And we also will tell them that based on what we're earning now, we are able to give a certain amount of dividends yearly or,
Right.
or quarterly.
Right.
So we are able to fulfill that. And then when the company grew a bit bigger, we made some changes into holding back dividends for our business to grow, to scale, and they're okay with it. As they see the valuation of the company based on our revenue grow, have faith in us. One thing I learned is that initially I was a bit skeptical as to, okay, what am I going to do with these shares? And like, what if I want to buy it back from them and what they want to do? I learned something is that the starting part of the business, because they are like kind of like angel investors, they take faith to invest in you,
right?
Yeah. So I should do it the same way, where it's really
In Chinese, I call it 饮水思源 also,
yeah.
right?
So certain decisions, if it's of course on paper, those
Right.
stuff like buying back all normal contract terms, yes.
Right.
But I appreciate their confidence in me, and I do the same back to them as well.
Right.
So it's a two-way thing.
Right.
Yeah.
When you think about scaling a business, of course, you have this equity fundraising where you mentioned is for scaling the business and a central kitchen, right? Did you also take loans or other kind of financial help,
Yes.
or how did you structure that as a, okay, I want to open new outlet, so how much I need to get equity and how much I need to get loan? Did you think about that, or how
Yeah,
much you use
correct.
your profit from last year? You know, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. How do you think?
So our cap table from all our investors remains the same. So everything is within our company. Opening up a shop for our size will be about, maybe including the deposits, will be about $500,000. We will usually try to take 200 or 250,000, and then for about 4 years, and then we'll slowly just pay it off, just to keep our cash flow.
Right, so 250, you're trying to get half of that upfront costs in
Yeah.
loans with some facilities lah.
Yeah.
Then the other half is from your investors or your own profits and whatsoever.
Or
that
those
you,
money that we saved along
Right.
the way, yeah.
Right.
So it's about half or maybe even less. And as our business got bigger in a way, we were able to fund that ourselves.
Right,
Yeah. So
right.
our cash flow is always now just keeping a minimum of like maybe 2 shops worth of reno
right.
in the
And then
company funds.
opportunistically you can choose to go into if you have, right?
Correct.
Yeah, yeah.
And then also take loans if let's say the rates are good. I didn't know this at first, but when I asked a banker, I take a 4-year loan, and I asked like, what is the term if I want to return early?
Okay.
Then the banker told me this, like, why would you want to do that? Like, that's where people want to borrow more money actually. Then I got me thinking like, if this is how it works, then I'll just play the game as well. As long as within our cash flow, then because we are self-funded, then we just take loans as we go along if we need to now.
As long as it's not over leveraged and you can win the cash flow, that's the most important thing. Yeah, so just now we also mentioned that, talk about expansion. What is the most important thing you think about? Do you have like a checklist? I want to look at this, look at that, look at, for example, we talk about Hougang might have a renovation, a new library movement. We talk about new malls opening in Singapore. How will you decide, hey, this is a good location?
Easy to say is experience, but let me break it down for you. Understanding my brand took me a while as well. Everybody would say, oh, Vivo City, North Point is really good. Let me give you 2 examples. For North Point, they offered us a unit closer to the food court, very crowded. And the price of the rental was, it's a fair price. It's a good sized unit as well. But let me check back, what is my brand about? So I got to know that, okay, customers, they eat, the food is good, the amount is also justifiable.
Quality is good,
more. Quality is good. Then when they pay the bill or when they tell their friends, oh, the total amount is so and so, we want them to have the feeling of that value there. I wouldn't say it's cheap, but value or affordable. And then we realized that if we open outlets that it's closer to the food court, and then they pay that price, then they will have the feeling of like, it's
expensive,
it's not. It's not, but they will have the feeling it's not so good. They have the feeling that it's actually quite expensive because the vibe is such. But if I were to open on the 3rd floor where there's less crowd, but because our food pools, I mean, we are quite a brand that people will go and look for us, and beside us is other proper restaurants as well, and then people eat our food, then you realize our food has value. So we are just picky to the point of me knowing what exact position that we want to be in. Yeah, we could probably make money in the North Point unit. I know we could, but it would just have that same feeling. I'd rather, don't say 3rd floor, maybe on the 2nd floor. I give you an example, Vivo City, basement, a lot of footfall, but I'd rather be on the 2nd floor where the crowd is still there, the rent may even be cheaper, but when customers eat there, they'll know, oh, Lawang, this price is really good. So I think just understanding my brand and the experience from there. And one more thing, we actually did a consulting with a company whose office is here. They actually did up some data analysis thing, like more of their stuff where there's points. What are the schools nearby? Is it close to an anchor tenant? How many steps away? What is the facing? All by score, and if it passes that score, then we know that it's good. Yeah, so we haven't really implemented it because we are trying it out, but it's pretty accurate. So if I were to not be in charge of it based on feeling, I think this chart will work.
Right. But even though you can say it's by feeling, this experience you have, there's a good teachable moment that I want to repeat to the listeners, is that you need to understand your brand positioning. And if your brand positioning is value, then you need to be in an advantageous position in value, which is what you say on the 2nd floor and 3rd floor. Say more, lesser footfall, but better in amplifying what the brand means. And I thought that was very, very meaningful because many times people are like, hey, I just want to go for the one with the most footfall. Or maybe I just want to be where the cheaper rent is or the more expensive rent. I don't know, right? But that's very, very smart. I think that was a very good
understanding the brand, like for me, deep dive, it's just really a lot of decisions you will. It may be right or wrong, but and it's you have a direction.
So, but all these good stories and success, I'm sure you have difficulties also, right? Is there any example on maybe some outlets that maybe when you invested, you didn't do as well as you hoped, and what were some learnings that you can share with everybody on some decisions so that they don't have to go through the same experience that you have went through?
Actually, fortunately for Lawang as a brand, every outlet that we open, we managed to grow the business. But I would say one minor setback was when I opened the Bugis store. So this was on the 4th floor. When we first opened it, everybody was telling me, oh, Bugis Plus, it's not the best. Bugis Junction was the mall to go to. Was the mall to go to. And we took it because, I think the young crowd will slowly get to know us. People from the Bugis street and all will come to us. When we first opened for the first, I would say 1 month, it was really a bit slow. Yeah, it got me thinking like, wow, is it like I got lucky for the first 4 outlets?
Imposter syndrome started to set in.
It came to a point where I had to scold my staff to tell them when the customers come in, you don't put them at the side tables, put them in the center so it will look crowded. It came to that point of me doing that. Then I sat down and I looked at the customers eating and the plating and stuff. Then I realized a lot more work could be done, could be improved, like from the menu. And we were using a lot of black bowls at that time, so we realized that it still looked cheap. I would say that when it comes to the tough times again, just relook and figure out where you can improve. But that was not the main turning point. I realized that the crowd came in after 1 month and then after the changes as well, then I grew to understand that my brand is the type of brand that people will recommend.
And talk about it, right?
Yeah,
Word of
people
mouth.
will recommend. So if I don't come in strong, just maintain what's good. Don't change too much. Just follow your concept strongly and make improvements on those things that you can. And then just have some confidence. And then slowly, I really got to learn deeper on my brand. I gained more confidence, and now from there, every shop that opens, everything so far is pretty okay.
Right. You also did a brand transformation a little bit where
Yes.
People will say, hey, is it like a second gen business owner takeover? Can you share a little bit more about that story?
So the first original Lawang character was drew by my secondary school friend Adam. Shout out to Adam. Yeah. And that was where I did the first Lawang.
Right.
It's an old character. So I realized that what sets me apart from other brands is that other Chinese restaurant brands is that I need to be more, I would say, cool. When I talk about the guy that left his carton of cigarettes, I realized that they are staying with us, but for what reason? How to create this affinity to the brand? So I reached out to him. I said, I need to draw a new Lawang. He told me like to keep the mascot. At the time, I was thinking of changing it to like Heavenly Wang, just words. He said, no, the mascot trend is coming up. Like that's where Food Panda start to have the...
Right.
So like even Hai Di Lao has a mascot. So mascot trend was coming back. This was like 3 years ago. That probably is already there. One thing I learned is to let the experts do their job, right? He's in this business of branding, and I listened to him and I didn't regret anything from there. We drew the new Lawang character. The colors were set in, and through that, we talked about the brand as well, like the meaning or what we stand for. Again, I got to know more about what the brand is about. Just keep talking about it. And then with the new renovation, the new style of menu to be more cool. I think that's what set us apart. Our merchandise, like I'm wearing the Lawang t-shirt here. The merchandise, we may not earn money from there, but we use it as giveaways so that it sets us apart from big brothers in the Chinese restaurant industry. That was one change that we did, and then people think that it's a second gen that came in. But just nice, I'm lucky to be at the age of like I want to be young, I want to learn from the young people, and I still have the traditional style of doing business. So I'm actually quite lucky to be smack in between. I really like to be in the know of what's young, what's on TikTok, and so I think I have this edge, this advantage. So yeah, people think it's a second gen, but yeah, it's me from the start.
You from the start, but revive and revitalize and re-innovating to make it even better.
Improving.
Right. So now that you're scaling up and you have like your GMs and your leadership coming in, would you say that you'll be being a bit more particular to things like KPI metrics and stuff like that? Do you track these type of things? Do you have like weekly meetings to see how your outlets are performing? Any of this kind of stuff? Or sometimes it's still quite gung-ho, hands-on, and see the day and the luck of the day?
When people ask me for advice for business, I've done quite okay myself, but I think I'm only good at so far my Lawang. And all these targets and down to the data is only like it's where my GM will come in and she will sort things out. Previously it was just how much you can sell, what's wrong, how many turns we do. It's very basic. But that's where my GM will come in and she will sort everything out. So in terms of numbers, I know what's going on, but now she sets the targets. So I'm like the founder and I'm taking care and giving some vision and direction, but down to the details, I already handed over quite a lot of stuff to her.
Right. So some of the KPIs, does it, you just now mentioned turns, for example, on SKUs or bowls or things like that. Does she track it in a way by, okay, every outlet need to have 100 Claypots per hour or something like that? Is there like something that you see, or do you see more of like, okay, we just have a weekly target on sales and food costs, a general target can already, what do you see her management style is and what is working for you guys?
We do targets just to pay the staff incentives.
Okay.
Yeah, we do that. We track, of course, we want to hit that target. We have a bonus, and when they hit a target that is a bit higher, we give them a super bonus. So all the staff really work hard for that. That's pretty common. With regards to data or what she pulls out, now that she's in the company and she's better than me, I would say, in this, she would pull out the products that are not doing so well. Previously, how I work, I'll ask my chief cook, 这个好卖吗? They say good, but I don't know how good it is. Now she will really
look at the data.
Yeah, she gets like it's not even moving in this category. So we remove it, we change it with something else. It's something that I could have done, but my focus is always on the general like
the bigger
expansion.
Picture.
She will go sieve out all this stuff that is actually more important.
How do you then manage your costs? Do you guys manage food costs more or labor costs more, or it's competitive to be able to eat what you guys offer in a mall? How do you do that? Like, how do you make money and do that, right? So,
because I started from hawker,
right,
like coffee shop style of food, so the food cost was always 30-35%. So I always use this as a rough gauge of a benchmark to do so. How I managed to make more money is for Lawang to like I said before, it was cheap, and now I've branded it to being affordable.
Right.
So if I were to increase some items by a margin that is more than what people would actually do, I would confidently do it, knowing that my product, when they eat it, they will still feel that the value is there, it's affordable. And it comes with a lot of stuff that people don't see based on the marketing, even the menu that comes down. When I observe other shops, and if they are doing well or they don't do well, I always look into these details. Oh, they're using this kind of menu. Does it scare the customer off to look expensive or to look cheap? Or sometimes the restaurant could be a high-end one, but they use a different, something that I feel don't match. So I think for Lawang, we have positioned it in a way that I think the customers would, even if we increased down to reduce our cost to maybe 28% for certain items, they will still feel that it's a good value.
Yeah. Then how about labor costs? Because I assume that with Claypot, there's going to be a lot of prep work and all. While you still have a central kitchen and all, it's still something that need to boil and serve piping hot, and then cleaning. Do you clean the Claypot yourself, for example? Or you
staff do that.
Staff do that, right? So a lot of
actually my business
cost,
is a bit labor intensive, I would say. So it comes with the business is okay, like people appreciate that the food is served hot, but the behind the scenes is a lot of labor work being done. I would say that two things. I think our central kitchen really helped in terms of the prep, and we are going to do a level higher, which is maybe outsource certain items of prep. So that's one thing we're going to do. So we will calculate, okay, we increase 4 more people in the central kitchen, but each outlet we take out like 1 person or something like that. We're still in the midst of doing that, but that's one way. Luckily, because I have a central kitchen, I wouldn't say that a central kitchen is the best choice, but it works well for us because we have a lot of products. The other thing I would say regarding staff is that because I like to remember their names, I know who are the good staff. I know there are a lot of turns in the F&B industry. But one thing I feel that I have an edge is that I rarely let the good staff go. So if there's a good staff who is pregnant, I'll ask one, when is she?
Delivery.
Yeah, when delivery, is someone going to take care of her? I mean, out of concern, like, does she want to come back to work? Although the turn is big, I retain the good staff. So I think this is something that many companies would do it, but do they actually effectively implement this?
Right.
Yeah, good stuff. I try my best. I cling on to them.
Right. So I hear 2 ways of retention. The first one you mentioned is about whether people have delivery or their own personal stuff. You take care of them. You cling on them as a leader to take care of them outside of just the work. The second thing is you talk about sales incentive and bonus. You talk about if you hit your KPI, you get a lot of money, right? So money also talks, right? Yeah. And that's the way you manage to retain the good people and manage turnover cost. I'll call it that way. Do you guys use any tools or any tech to help you scale your business?
Actually, we are quite slow to this game. We recently adopted loyalty program. Previously, it was the cards where we had to chop 10 stamps and you get the free sesame or chicken. I don't know if you had it before. We adopted a loyalty program and with membership with avocado. It's working well for us. I think in like 1 year or so, we managed to have like 60,000 or so members. Yeah,
that's crazy amount. Good job, avocado, as well, for empowering Lawang.
Yeah, we realized that our customers really want our membership because they eat quite often. We feel that how to tap on this, and we use it to, of course, EDMs, giveaways, how to get customers back, the lull periods, how do we give more during this period. In terms of promotion, in terms of activities, a lot of them is done in this loyalty program, so it's pretty good. A lot of feedback as well. We use Momos for feedback. Feedback, and the good feedback will be pushed in through Google as well. I think it's all the common stuff, but slowly. I think if I could, I would implement as many.
Actually, the way you phrase it, right, you say you're not very tech enabled. Actually, you are very tech enabled, using customer feedback, using loyalty and all. That's really, really good stuff. What about the trends that you see moving forward? Like, what are some areas of innovation that you possibly might want to look at in 25, 26?
Concepts are very important. I see many concepts. The food is on a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a 6 or a 7. But the concept is so clear and so strong. When I eat the food, I know that it could be from a central kitchen or so. As time goes by, I think consumers will be more, not say all, but a lot will be focused that if the food is a 7 and your concept and price is right, it will do well. I see a trend in this. I see a trend in the food being like a lot of products will be from central kitchen, suppliers, sources. The food is about there, but the concepts are strong. If it were me, I would put some focus into that as well. Right.
Is there also a forecast that you guys are coming up with new concepts soon? Whether Lawang would have, apart from the 2 brands that you have under the roof now, would there be 3rd brand, 4th brand coming up soon?
Based on the current concepts, I could double my size. So I would not try to change too much unless it's slowing down a little bit. one thing I would probably want to look at will be something which uses less manpower.
Okay.
So ordering, collection on your own,
Right.
and then the kitchen would have like outside 1 or 2 to clear the tables. In the kitchen, 4 people. So I think if I could develop a concept for what kind of locations, for example, like I just thought of this, like Kallang Wave Mall.
That kind, yeah.
Yeah, because they do fast, but the concept has to be right.
Right.
Like Yuki is there. You just interviewed. Yeah, they are there. I think they're doing well.
Right.
Fast, quick. Try not to have too much manpower. I think that's kind of like a little flaw in my business, which I wish I could
Manage the
improve
manpower
on.
cost a little bit better, lah.
Yeah,
Right.
correct.
Yeah, I mean, like every business have their own challenges and their own strengths and weaknesses, but at least on your end, good value, good scale and all. And I think that the Lawang story has been very inspirational because for myself, I'm a big Lawang fan. I've dined there a lot of time and I always see the mall and it's super amazing. Now, I'm going to go to the quick fire question to ask you a few questions where you answer quickly lah, and don't have to explain too much. Just the first answer that come straight from your mind lah. Okay, so first question is, who is someone in the industry that you learn a lot from?
When I started the Pontian Wanton noodle business, so I opened up to 3 stores under the big boss, who's actually the father of my good friend. We had a lot of talks over the phone, and we share. I see him going down to the shops when he's strict with the staff and how he uses like human touch to really show appreciation back to the staff. So this is something I learned.
You want to shout out for his name because you said Pontian boss, but
yeah, it's
shout out
Mr. Harry Ong.
Mr. Harry Ong.
Mr. Harry Ong.
Thanks for inspiring all the
He's the
F&B.
founder. He created it, and he created this business when he was in his, I think, 50s or so. He had his ups and downs. He started it from scratch, and then he opened up to, I think, 50, 60 outlets at one point of time. So I really respect like his energy at that time.
Super. If you were to restart your journey in Lawang, what would you do differently?
I would try to raise a lot more money and do things faster. Yeah, if I could. I know it's not the best style based on what we went through. It may not have worked, but I see a lot of companies doing that with a certain amount of experience, get the right people, pay some people to do what they are good at doing, and then grow a bit faster. I wouldn't say do it too fast, but I think we were quite slow. We only started to really expand like 4 or 5 years ago. So people think that, second generation, they start to take over. Actually, we've been around. But if I had more confidence, I just put myself out there, raise more money, and the mindset is different. Okay, 3 or 4 shops a year, that kind. Yeah, but I don't know if the knowledge will apply, but that's something I would want to try in my next business venture.
Now it's not too late. You can find a lot of investors with your current traction result, man.
Want to do that.
If you have a son or daughter that wants to join in this journey, what advice will you give him or her?
I know it's a bit cheesy, but be genuine in the way you treat your staff, the way you do work, the way you approach problem solving also. When you really put yourself out there and you want to increase the salary of your staff, or you want to make some changes, just be genuine about what you want to do. I think that the company can feel it, and then somehow this culture is brought down. I think I'm quite lucky to have a lot of staff that stayed with me from day one.
Right.
Yeah.
So will you let your son or daughter join you?
Yes, I think I would. Yeah.
If we were to have a meal at your latest outlet, what would be a meal you order for your close friends to try?
It will be the sesame oil chicken.
Classic.
For sure. And maybe one herbal soup and
Frog
one
sticks
fried
you got?
item. I want it to be like just nice. I'm always very frustrated that friends that want to support me, they over-order.
Me lah, I always
They
over-order.
over-order, then I feel like, you didn't get the right feeling. But it's okay. But I want them like, so 4 people, 4 Claypots. Just nice.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Do you have a social media that people can follow you, or how do they follow the Lawang's journey? Yeah.
Maybe on Instagram, Mark Jeremy is my username. I'm a public profile. I don't have many followers, but I'm starting to grow. I don't really put my face out there previously, also because I felt that when I was younger, I didn't have the confidence to show that, it's not an old man behind it. I was always like, nobody knows. Only the last 3-4 years, I feel that, I've developed something that I genuinely feel that it's mine. It's not just a shop selling hot Claypot dishes. I developed something that I feel for, and then I'm confident now, and then you can follow me from there, and then that's where you can reach me.
If someone would like to start a F&B business and would like to hear your advice, would you offer a Claypot session or a coffee session to share some of your advice?
Yeah, I would. I'm always very open to sharing my journey. I failed so much, and I feel that I gained some traction now. I would like to hear what they're thinking as well, and of course sharing is a must. I realize that a lot of bosses, businessmen, they are very sincere about sharing, and this is something that I learned from them.
Right.
Yeah.
So now actually we've come to the end of our recording. Any final advice or words to share with our listeners?
If you're an entrepreneur, you will somehow find your way to problem solve and get things done. But if you're not cut out for business, then Yeah, you just know it. Yeah, an entrepreneur is an entrepreneur at heart. So this is something like from my experience.
Thank you so much, Matt.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Matt, for sharing. It's a really amazing recording, and I
you.
hope to have more Claypots with you.
Yes, please. Thank you so much.
Awesome, man. What?
Thank you.